this is a minor blip compared to the major success of helping Donald Trump regain the White House. He's a great entrepreneur. I think his companies and he personally are getting all sorts of negative attention and even vandalism and all these violent attacks, and it's terrible. I know personally that he's been getting death threats, all for the sin of having been a liberal who decided to support Donald Trump and then go serve in his government for a short period of time.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Hope all's good wherever you are. Abby Phillip is going off the rails more and more. Her hatred for Scott Jennings is coming through on this show more every time. There's some rumors about that. I'll fill you in at the end of the video, but first, let's get to the clip. I'll give you my thoughts after that. Let's get it.
It's almost like Trump with the tariffs kind of took the heat off of Elon after what happened in Wisconsin, because he needs it. He's been having a really rough few weeks, and Republicans in Congress and elsewhere are getting nervous, and they would like him to turn the dial down on some of this stuff.
Yeah, I was on with you guys some weeks ago, and I said that the Republicans were going to have to bench Elon Musk, that they were going to have to put him on the bench. He is deeply, deeply unrelatable when you look at him. And then he doesn't seem to talk about the American people as if they're actually people. He's running his wing of the country in a very dollars and cents, like Neo from the Matrix way. And he doesn't seem to have that little empathy chip that allows a person to understand when you're talking about somebody's job, when you're talking about somebody's future, when you say that Social Security is a Ponzi scheme. I immediately think of my grandmother. And anyone who thought of grandmothers wouldn't say that. So after a while, the shtick was going to get old, and it was going to cost the Republicans electorally. It's a matter of time.
I mean, it's more than having, empathy, Gene. He has said recently that Western civilization's greatest failure is empathy, which many people would argue is actually one of the better hallmarks of a civilization worth the name. And there is a political backlash. I mean, Harry Enton's run through the numbers a million times, but the reality is that he is deeply unpopular. Now, he put a lot of personal capital and financial capital into this Wisconsin race. It didn't go his way. But at some point, all the knives are out. And he's a great entrepreneur. You got to give him credit for that. He is one of the great entrepreneurs of our time. But this incarnation of Elon Musk is causing massive damage.
I'm just going to channel Kara Swisher here for 2 seconds and note that he did not create Tesla. He came into Tesla, and many of his other companies as well. But I like this headline from CNN Business. It said, in short, voters, customers, investors, and the MAGA elite say the Elon Musk show has lost the plot. His companies are having a hard time with this. And I do think that there's something about this Wisconsin race that was so interesting in the way that Elon really kind of put his money front and center. He wasn't just saying, I'm using my voice as a citizen to push for the guy I like. He was like, let me just hand out some checks, and this is how we're going to win this thing. And I do think that there was always a risk that voters were going to say, that's not how this country works, and we don't like that. And some of that backlash, no question, hurt the Republicans.
What do you mean that's not how this country works? People don't donate money to political campaigns?
No. What I'm saying is that the idea that a billionaire hands people checks for votes is not how the country works.
I don't think that's accurate. He wasn't handing people checks.
So if
for
George
votes.
Soros were to say, oh, I'm going to give away $1 million to a random 5 people who go out and vote on this day, what would you say?
Look, all kinds of billionaires spent money in this race. I think you guys are dramatically overreading the results. A liberal seat stayed in liberal hands and got about the same percentage of the vote as the last Supreme Court race in Wisconsin. It's absolutely true. He stuck his neck out for someone that he thought was important, and you don't win every time you try in politics. I think his electoral record, though, beyond that, is pretty good. Chiefly, I think he was one of the key reasons why Donald Trump got elected president last November. And so, in the pantheon of his political engagements, this is a minor blip compared to the major success of helping Donald Trump regain the White House. He's a great entrepreneur. I think his companies and he personally are getting all sorts of negative attention and even vandalism and all these violent attacks, and it's terrible. I know personally that he's been getting death threats. All for the sin of having been a liberal who decided to support Donald Trump and then go serve in his government for a short period of time. It's outrageous.
It's actually not true. I just want to say something real quick. I understand it. A lot of people want to frame this as people started to hate Elon Musk or not like Elon Musk once Elon Musk decided to support Donald Trump. It's just not true.
I definitely think it's true.
It's definitely not true.
Definitely
Scott.
true.
It started long before then. When Elon Musk bought Twitter, hate speech just erupted on Twitter. Elon Musk's flirting with Nazism and far right type of stuff for a couple of years before this has gotten people off the Elon Musk bandwagon way before he decided to.
I think chronologically that is accurate.
So you're saying when he challenged the liberal ownership of Twitter, that's when the liberals started to hate him?
No.
So it is true.
No, not when he challenged
it is
the. No, you can. It's not about challenging
I don't think
the
it's
liberal
about
ownership.
ownership. I don't think
owned
it's
it. There was
solely about Donald Trump. I think it is, to Van's point, that he has been, even before he owned Twitter, actually, before he bought it, before he wanted to buy it, he was turning his personal platform into a place where conspiracy theories, harassment, he accused a random person of pedophilia. It was sued for it. I mean, this was happening years ago, before all of this.
You know, I agree with Scott that we shouldn't make too much of the Wisconsin thing. And in fact, I think there was a bit of a Streisand effect here. Like, I think if Elon hadn't injected himself into Wisconsin politics, it might not have gotten as much attention, and it might have
100%.
Right. So I don't even know that, you know. Anyway, so that's one thing. But I also think he has done exactly what he was meant to do, exactly what Donald Trump wanted him to do in all the ways. The heat shield. I mean, the crap that he has done and the incoming he has dealt with took a lot of heat off of Donald Trump for the first couple of months of his presidency. That was important, I think, for Donald Trump. And wrecking, you know, the U.S. government, I think, is exactly what Donald Trump wanted him to do. The idea that they would be upset with him doesn't make sense to me, doesn't ring true to me.
Bro said Elon Musk is one of the greatest entrepreneurs in American history, which he is right. He's the richest man in the world. He's only 53 years old. At Tesla, SpaceX, Starlink, PayPal, Neuralink. Abby Phillip says, just to interject here, he didn't found those companies. He was not the founder of Tesla. This is true. He came in as a CEO in 2008, I believe it was. But they had no good prototype until he took over. He changed the course of that company and made it what it is today. He never claimed to be an inventor. He's an entrepreneur. He's an investor. I am not a Mark Zuckerberg fan, but Facebook is where it is today because of him, even though he wasn't the original founder of Facebook. SpaceX is where it is today because of Elon Musk. And he was one of the original founders of that. The same way I don't like Bill Gates. I'm not going to diminish what he's accomplished in any of these videos when I talk about him. Windows is one of the great American companies. Microsoft, he did that. It was him that took the chances. It was him that put the money towards it. I don't care for the guy, but I'm not going to diminish what he's accomplished financially and as his legacy. I'm always reminded of the Teddy Roosevelt speech, the man in the arena. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, is what the speech is about. It's better to try and to fail than to never dare to try anything at all. And do you think Elon Musk gives two craps about what the peanut gallery has to say about him? The guy builds rockets that are 400 feet long, 16.5 million pounds of thrust, essentially skyscrapers that are designed to go into deep space and that re-land themselves, eventually to send manned missions to Mars. There's one thing I wouldn't do is I wouldn't bet against Elon Musk if I'm these liberals. You want to think of another space company that didn't do well in the beginning? Look at the early days of NASA, even the later days of NASA. Everything that NASA has now is from SpaceX or Boeing anyway. It's all from Elon. Absolutely ludicrous. And Scott Jennings is right. They did start hating him once he turned from being more liberal and when he bought Twitter. That is when the tide started turning. If you look at the history of Tesla, they were going nowhere before that guy got involved. I'm a Tesla investor, and I will invest in anything that Elon Musk is involved in. I invest in the people, not the company. If I can ever buy stock in SpaceX, Now, to get to the Abby Phillips and Scott Jennings news, there is some rumors coming through the grapevines of CNN folks that Abby Phillip is very, very upset that Scott Jennings is taking the shine away from her on her own show, because the viewership on CNN when he's on the show is like double what it is when he's not. And that makes sense, because when he's not on there, it's all a bunch of libs. So only the libs would watch the show. When he's on there, they probably get the same libs, but they get us watching as well. They should learn from it. Have a couple more Republicans on there, because without him on there, it's just like watching The View. It's a bunch of harpies just spewing nonsense. But anyways, news coming through the grapevine is that she is quite upset about this, and upset at Scott Jennings, and behind the scenes being a little bit troublesome. So we'll see where that goes. I don't think that Scott Jennings is long for CNN anyway. I think this guy's going to go on his own. I don't know when his contract is up. I don't know how much money they pay him. If they pay him a boatload of money, then sure enough, stay. But I think that guy goes on his own. The sky's the limit. The sky's the limit. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash that thumbs up button for your boy. Consider subscribing to the channel. Help it grow. Catch you in the next one. Peace out, everybody.